Chemical weapons watchdog says the Syrian government has complied with its promise and handed over the last remaining details of its toxic arsenal to the agency. This comes as part of Syria's chemical disarmament plan hammered out by Russia and Washington last week. And joining me now live is RT's Irina Galushko. Hi there, Irina. Nice to see you. So it looks like Syria is committed to this diplomatic roadmap, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it certainly does. Now, Damascus has fulfilled its obligation to send all the documents regarding its chemical stockpile to the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, or the OPCW. Now, of course, the OPCW has to work out a framework in order to deal with the procedures of the disarmament of Syria. They were supposed to hold a meeting on that on Sunday, but they have postponed that indefinitely. Of course, that was before it became known that Damascus has already sent the entire package of documents needed to OPCW. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what will transpire now. But the United Nations is slated to hold a discussion in New York in the coming week in order to legitimize the deal hammered out between Moscow and Washington about a week ago in Geneva. According to that deal, Damascus has until middle of 2014 in order to complete its disarmament program. Now, there is, of course, some difficulties involved therewith, and that is the fact that the chemical stockpiles, the Syrian chemical stockpiles, are actually distributed between various points in the country, and not all of those parts are controlled entirely by the official Damascus. And of course, there's also some disagreements when it comes to the wording of the potential UN resolution, whereas London, Washington, and Paris want to see the threat of military intervention be included in the provisions of the potential UN resolution. Moscow says such a provision would be counterproductive.
Yeah, Moscow is certainly spearheading the diplomatic way out for Syria. So how's it commenting on the matter?
Well, we have already heard from the head of Russian presidential administration, Sergei Ivanov, earlier on Saturday, who was talking in Stockholm, and he was also mentioning the various hypothetical instances which were various hypothetical scenarios which could be happening. For example, he said that nobody has ever mentioned what it would be like if it turns out that both official Damascus and the opposition have used the chemical weapons. But at the same time, he has said that Russia has fulfilled its obligations when it comes to bringing official Damascus to the table of the discussions, something which cannot be said about all of the parties involved.
We are not protecting the Syrian government. We are protecting the international law. And if in future, for example, I'm talking now theoretically and hypothetically, but if we'll become sure, Russia will become sure that Assad, for example, is cheating, we might change our position. But so far, we don't have such evidence.
Again, this was a hypothetical scenario, one of the hypothetical scenarios which was outlined by the head of Russia's presidential administration in Stockholm. But again, Russia has been adamant about the necessity of the diplomatic solution of the Syrian crisis, and it has been pushing the Syrian government towards the discussion table. Moscow says that that is not the way that other parties involved in discussions have been doing, for example, Washington.
Russia has done its part under the Russian-American initiative on May the 7th. We have secured Damascus' commitment to send a delegation to Geneva conference. Our American partners have so far failed to do the same in their talks with the opposition.
It also looks like, according to Sergei Ivanov, that the Syrian opposition doesn't seem to be so interested in getting to the discussion table. On top of that, it is notoriously disfragmented, with some inner scuffles happening sporadically over the past several years, as a matter of fact. And also, we must not forget about the fact that there are also numerous groups within Syria itself which are fighting supposedly for the opposition, but at the same time, they are openly affiliated with al-Qaeda. And of course, should a military involvement be, in fact, put in place by states such as the United States or France or the United Kingdom, of course, that would mean a complete and total mayhem in Syria, something which we have already seen happening in countries such as Libya.
All right. RT's Irina Galushko live from central Moscow. Irina, thank you very much indeed. We appreciate it.